The Jets rolled into the season, and I said it early on. And listen, Zach Wilson had like a game and a half stretch where you're like, God, he's kind of capable. And then he just resorted back to shitty Zach Wilson. They tried to have their cake and eat it too. Someone in the NFL in the know around the Jets was like, we were done. He was done. Like, he was not coming back. I mean, it was kind of public as well, right? Zach Wilson was not going to be on the team. But then the Aaron Rodgers situation, kind of played out. And Aaron's like, I kind of like the guy. I'll help him out. And then they kind of kept him around. But I say it all the time. It's one thing if you got a backup wide receiver, you can mix in other guys, or a backup D lineman. When that is your backup quarterback, you are one Achilles tear from that guy becoming your starter. And of course, it was an utter debacle. And now they're talking about potentially putting him back in the lineup. Listen, these guys are probably going to survive simply because of Aaron Rodgers. But, and I want to like Robert Saleh as a head coach because I loved him as a defensive coordinator. I like him as a guy. It's pretty ugly, man. It really is. Nathaniel Hackett without Aaron Rodgers might as well be Joe Judge or Matt Patricia. I mean, he's fucking terrible. Has absolutely no clue what to do. Their personnel has issues. It's so easy to say, well, we'll just wait till 2024 and Aaron Rodgers gets back. We say this a lot with the draft. Like, Todd Bowles, just get to 2024 and draft a quarterback, whoever the bad team is. Well, you have to go through that season where it's pretty ugly, right? And once you start watching it on a weekly basis, it's like the Jets, that's about as shitty as a football team in terms of watching, right there with the Patriots. But at least, the Patriots might draft number 1 overall. I think they have like a 50-50 shot to have the number 1 overall pick, right? To me, the Panthers are going to end up winning a game or two. Patriots cannot move the ball. They definitely can't score any points. They get even close in the red zone. No chance. So it's hard for them even to get there. Like, I do think the Panthers, you're going to look up and they're going to have a weird win. It would not shock me at all if the Patriots get the number 1 overall pick. But the Jets are going to win 5 or 6 games. And you're like, that might as well have been a 2-win team. They fucking suck. So anytime that you suck that bad and your one excuse is, well, Rodgers has an Achilles. Well, that's great. Are we confident at all that you guys know what you're doing? That Robert as a head coach, Nathaniel Hackett as a play caller, do you guys know what you're doing? Because I do think it's fair to say, like, you watch them and go, yeah, they don't know what they're doing at all. Like, there's not much faith. So it's getting really ugly. A lot of other stuff going on. It kind of hit me today. Belichick lost 6-0 at home, 6-0. And I read that Belichick and the Patriots are the first team since like the late 30s to lose 3 games where they held the opponent to 10 points or under. I was thinking, like, if you played 3 games, whatever their record is, they played 11 or 12 games. But you're talking 30, 25% of your season, your defense is playing awesome. And obviously they've had other games when the team was in the teens or the low 20s. Belichick can still coach defense. Belichick knows how to play an opposing team with a star, highly paid quarterback with other good weapons, and especially if his team is healthy, give his team a fighting chance to compete defensively. One thing is clear. He doesn't know how to evaluate offensive skill guys, especially wide receivers. And if the quarterback position is screwed up, i.e. Tom Brady not there, and he doesn't have some other plug-and-play top 10 player, he's fucked. But think about a couple years ago when Mac Jones was just serviceable as a rookie. He had Josh McDaniels. Well, I was thinking about today, Josh McDaniels doesn't have a job. Because I've texted with so many people like, Middlekauff, you really think, I'm not going third person Cam Newton style, I'm just saying that's what they say to me, that because I saw he did an interview with Pardon My Take guys. He talks in third person like every other sentence. It's like, Cam, just talk about like a normal human. It's like, what do you think, Cam Newton? No, Cam, you are Cam Newton. But Belichick's offensive issues this year, he doesn't have his offensive coordinator. Well, his offensive coordinator is going to be available. So if you hire Bill Belichick this offseason, because let's face it, there is no possibility of him returning. 0. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense for Bill Belichick to return or to let him have the power to draft one of these quarterbacks / draft other people in the draft. I wouldn't let him touch it. It's an easy one to go your separate ways. But then the question mark is like, is Bill Belichick a viable candidate? And I've been saying for weeks, like, I think he's going to have the pick of the litter. Well, he's going to be able to say, well, why don't I just bring Josh with me as my offensive coordinator? You guys see what I can do on defense. I get Josh calling my offense, and boom, we're cooking with gas. I actually think it makes him more valuable on the open market when he can just say, I know exactly how this guy works. I don't have to even think about it, because when he's gone to Patricia and obviously Bill O'Brien, they're completely screwed. But when he has Josh, who is an awful head coach, right? Just like Belichick, without him as the offensive coordinator, they're going to have issues. But you put those two together. I mean, hell, a couple years ago, they took Mac Jones to the playoffs. They made the playoffs with the rookie Mac Jones. Think about that. So I wouldn't count Belichick like his career is just over. He's proving it on defense. Think how many teams right now would give anything for a guy like that to influence their defense. How many teams who are just putrid on that side of the ball? The Lions. Think of what the Lions would do to just have him just give them some tips on how to improve. And they got no clue. I mean, they're just, at any moment, you can score like 21 points on the Lions in like a blink of an eye. It's why that you feel less and less confident about them when the playoffs are, coming around the corner. But if Belichick's a coach next year, Josh McDaniels is going to be his offensive coordinator. I'd put that bad boy in Sharpie. Cards 2-2. Kyler Murray, I said the moment he came back, like, Kyler Murray's going to be their quarterback moving forward. I mean, he's not. I don't think people quite understand. I played golf today with a guy that had played for the Cardinals back when Bidwell took over, in the mid to late 2000s. And we were just discussing just how cheap, and the Cardinals still to this day are, that Players Association survey that came out about how they charge you for to-go boxes. I mean, when I worked in the NFL for the first couple of years in the office, I lived on to-go boxes. If they would have charged me, Jeffrey Lurie would have taken thousands of dollars from me. So the Cardinals, from a cheapskate standpoint, are number one in the NFL. It ain't even close. So if you think that this owner paid this guy signing bonuses, paid him a lot of money to trade him, you're crazy. Especially when, like, let's face it, there is a lot to work with Kyler Murray. Now, winning some of these games, when you have your quarterback, winning and losing when you suck doesn't matter as much. It much more impacts you if you want to draft one of the high quarterbacks. So it's a big deal, especially, they're 2-2 with Kyler Murray, like I said earlier. So if I'm a Cardinal fan, we just need to get a lot more talent around this team because we don't have that much. It's more just the Steelers don't know what's going on there. But I think Kyler has had a very, very positive return from a football standpoint. Looks healthy. The team has just a lot of positivity around them. Not that negativity last year with Cliff, the Call of Duty contract, just everything surrounding the operation. Say what you want about them. They feel like the polar opposite right now. Now, obviously, they're playing with house money, zero expectations. No one expects them to win a game. They're huge underdogs every time they play. But I would say it's been a positive step. One thing that has not been a positive step has been the Derek Carr New Orleans experience. I don't know if I thought he'd be good, but I definitely thought he'd just be, middle of the road starting quarterback. Their team's pretty talented. They're going to go 10-7. Division sucks. He's just going to be solid. Now, he ended up having a good third quarter before he got knocked out for the second time this season. I think it's the second concussion. He threw 3 touchdowns, or I think he accounted for 3 touchdowns. I don't know if he threw for them all, but they got right back in the game, and it was like 28-21 after getting their ass kicked early. But through the first half, when they were just beyond putrid, he's getting booed. A bunch of people were hitting me up on social media like, why don't they just go to Jameis? And then I looked up his contract. They gave him a $40 million guarantee. They essentially are going to give him $60 million over 2 years. His dead cap next year is really high. They can't cut him. Like, he's on their team now, and he's just not very good. And I think sometimes, like, this is where I respect the guys that are polarizing, like Cousins and Dak are good examples, because for a long time, Derek kind of hovered in that group. Jimmy Garoppolo did earlier in their career. Kirk Cousins stayed at that level, and you could argue this year was like his best years of his career. Kevin O'Connell's like, I've never seen this guy play that well, and he's watched him play forever. Dak Prescott continues to get better. Like, it sounds cliche, it sounds stupid, it sounds something like a coach would say, but it's fucking true. You either improve or you get worse. Nobody in football stays the same over the course of years, right? So you're either trending up or trending down. And Carr just he's been trending down. Like I thought last year was more like Josh McDaniels outlier situation. You watch him this year, he doesn't look that good. And I'm saying this as someone who's known him since he was a senior in high school, but he's just not that good of a player anymore for whatever reason. Doesn't want to get hit, lost his confidence. I don't know. I don't have the, I can't pinpoint it. I just know from watching the guy's career, since college through the Raiders, you watch him play for the Saints, you're like, this is not a very good player right now. And internally, when you make a move, listen, you miss on free agents. It's part of football, right? Because a lot of the times when you sign a free agent, that guy's a free agent for a reason. Like Aaron Judges and LeBron James and Kevin Durant's and these players in these other sports that they never hit free agency in the NFL. And if they do, it's usually because it's toward the end of their career, right? Like Tom Brady hit free agency. He was 42 years old. Peyton Manning hit free agency. They didn't think his neck worked. It's usually like, God, can you believe that Aaron Donald at 27 hit free agency? Like that's just not the way the NFL works. So when you sign a free agent, there's a lot of risk involved, right? It's why usually a lot of the top guys that do change teams through trade. Devontae, Tyreek, Khalil Mack back in the day, like players like that. Looking back, Derek was legitimate, had a lot of baggage, and had a lot of red flags. And he was a free agent for a reason. He was, say what you want about Josh McDaniels, he shorted him, and he might have been right. And I would say based on what we've seen this year, he was right. And the Saints Dennis Allen isn't a very good coach. So it's not all on Derek. I don't think Dennis has any clue what he's doing, and he's going to get fired at the end of the season. But Derek has played a role in that, him losing his job for sure.